If you're staying alone in a place you've never been before, don't open your door in the middle of the night. My name is Jack, and this happened about 2 years ago. I work in construction, and sometimes my company sends me to different towns for short projects. One week I was assigned to a job about 3 hours away from my hometown. Instead of booking a hotel, the company rented me an apartment in an old 3-story building. I was given an apartment on the top floor. The building wasn't abandoned. People lived there, but I mostly kept to myself. I would leave early in the morning, work all day, grab dinner on the way back, and spend the rest of the night alone in my apartment. The first 2 days were completely normal. Nothing unusual happened. I actually liked how quiet the place was. Then, on the 3rd night, everything changed. It was sometime after midnight when I suddenly woke up. At first, I wasn't even sure what had woken me. Then I heard it again. A door opening somewhere in the hallway. It wasn't loud. It was slow, like someone was carefully opening an old wooden door. Curious, I got out of bed and walked to my front door. I looked through the peephole. At the far end of the hallway stood a man. His back was facing me. He wasn't moving. He just stood there completely still. I assumed he had the wrong apartment, or maybe he was looking for someone. I opened my door just a few inches and asked, "Excuse me, can I help you?" The man didn't turn around right away. A few seconds later, he slightly tilted his head and quietly said, "Sorry." Then he calmly walked toward the staircase and disappeared. I didn't think much of it. I figured he had simply gone to the wrong floor. The next 2 days were normal again. I completely forgot about the man in the hallway until Friday night. I went to bed around 11. Everything seemed normal. Then, at exactly 1:30 in the morning, I woke up to the sound of someone trying my apartment door. The doorknob slowly turned. Once, then it stopped. I sat up in bed without making a sound. Maybe someone had the wrong apartment again. I waited. 5 long minutes passed. Nothing. Just as I started convincing myself it was over, the doorknob turned again. This time, it lasted longer. Whoever was outside wasn't knocking. They were trying to quietly open my door. My heart was racing. I reached for my phone but didn't move from my bed. Every part of me wanted to walk to the door and see who it was. But something deep inside kept telling me, "Don't." The sound stopped again. The apartment became completely silent. I could hear my own heartbeat. Another 5 minutes passed. Then, the doorknob moved for a 3rd time, slowly, as if the person outside still believed the door might eventually open. I pulled the blanket over myself and stayed completely still. I didn't make a single sound. Eventually, the noises stopped. I have no idea how long I stayed awake after that. When the sun finally came up, I got dressed for work. As I stepped outside the building, 2 police officers were waiting near the entrance. One of them walked over to me. "Sir, can we ask you a few questions?" I agreed. The officer asked, "Have you seen any strangers around this building recently, or experienced anything unusual during the last few nights?" I immediately told them everything. The man standing in the hallway, the way he never faced me, the quiet apology, and someone trying to open my apartment door at exactly 1:30 that morning. The officers listened carefully without interrupting. When I finished, one of them nodded and said, "You made the right decision." I asked, "What do you mean?" He replied, "Last night someone was reported trying apartment doors in this area. You were smart not to open yours." That sentence sent chills through my entire body. The officers thanked me for the information and drove away. I finished my work a few days later and never went back to that apartment. But even today, I still think about that night. Sometimes I wonder if I had opened my apartment door at 1:30 that morning, who would have been standing on the other side? And honestly, I don't think I want to know. That night, I called my parents because I thought someone was inside our house. 20 minutes later, they searched every room, but they never found anyone. The terrifying part is, I know I wasn't alone. My name is Ryan, and this happened 3 years ago in a quiet neighborhood outside an American city. I still think about that night. There were 4 of us living in the house: my mom, my dad, my younger sister, and me. It was an ordinary Friday evening. My parents had been invited to a family party across town. Around 6 o'clock, my dad knocked on my bedroom door. "Ryan, don't stay up too late. Get ready. We're leaving in an hour." I nodded. "Yeah, I'll be ready." By 7:30, we all left together. At first, everything felt normal. Music was playing, people were laughing, and everyone was enjoying themselves. But after about 30 minutes, I started feeling sick. It wasn't anything serious. I just had a pounding headache and felt completely drained. My mom noticed. "You don't look okay." "I'm fine. I think I just want to go home." My dad offered to drive me back, but I didn't want everyone to leave because of me. "It's only 15 minutes away. I'll grab a ride home." They agreed. Before I left, my mom smiled. "Text us when you get home." "I will." About 20 minutes later, I pulled into our driveway. That's when something immediately felt wrong. The front door was slightly open, not wide open, just enough for the wind to move it back and forth. My heart skipped. I clearly remembered my dad locking it before we left. I stood there for several seconds staring at it. Maybe someone forgot to close it. Maybe the wind pushed it open. Or maybe someone was inside. I slowly stepped onto the porch. "Hello?" No answer. I pushed the door open. The house was completely dark. I reached for the light switch. The living room looked perfectly normal. Nothing was broken. Nothing was missing. I checked the kitchen. Empty. Dining room. Empty. Bathroom. Empty. Even the garage was exactly the way we had left it. I laughed nervously. "You're just overthinking." I locked the front door myself. I checked it twice. Then I walked upstairs and went into my bedroom. I changed into my clothes, turned off the lights, locked my bedroom door, and lay down. For a while, everything was quiet. Then I heard it. Footsteps. Very slow, coming from downstairs. Each step sounded heavy, like someone was walking through the house without trying to hide it. I froze. Maybe my parents came home early. I grabbed my phone. No missed calls, no messages. The footsteps continued. They were moving through the hallway downstairs. Then they stopped. I forced myself out of bed. I unlocked my bedroom door just enough to peek outside. The upstairs hallway was empty. No movement, no voices, nothing. I checked every room upstairs. No one. I even looked over the staircase. The first floor was completely silent. After nearly a minute, I convinced myself I had imagined everything. I returned to my room, locked the door again, sat on the edge of my bed. Then the footsteps started again. This time, they were upstairs, slow, deliberate, walking across the hallway toward my bedroom. Each step felt closer than the last. My breathing became shallow. The sound stopped right outside my door. Complete silence. I couldn't hear breathing. I couldn't hear movement, but I knew something was standing there. Then the doorknob moved, just once, very slowly. I jumped back and immediately grabbed my phone. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped it. "Dad, please come home." His voice changed instantly. "What happened?" "I don't know. Someone's here." "We're leaving now. Stay in your room." The next 15 minutes felt endless. I never heard another footstep, no voices, nothing. Then headlights flashed through my bedroom window. A car door slammed. My parents were home. I ran downstairs and unlocked the front door. I told them everything, every single sound. My dad searched every room, the attic, the garage, the basement, even every closet. Nothing. No broken windows, no forced entry, nothing stolen. My mom tried to calm me down. It was probably the house settling. I wanted to believe her, but I couldn't, because I knew what I had heard. Those weren't random noises. Those were footsteps. The next morning, my dad walked into the kitchen holding his coffee. "The back sliding door is open." My stomach dropped. "What?" "It probably wasn't closed all the way." I stared at him. "No." He frowned. "I locked it before bed." "I know." So did I. I remembered checking it after I locked the front door. I knew it had been shut. No one argued after that. We simply closed it and never talked about it again. People still ask me why I moved out of that house so quickly. I always give them the same answer, because I can still remember the sound of those footsteps stopping right outside my bedroom door. And to this day, I still don't know who or what was standing on the other side.
Some people don't believe this story. That's okay. I wish I didn't have to believe it either. My name is Daniel, and this happened during my first winter living alone. I had just moved into an old 2-story house in a quiet neighborhood outside Chicago. It wasn't abandoned or creepy. It was just an old house with a finished basement. For the first 2 weeks, everything felt normal. I went to work every morning, came home every evening, watched TV, made dinner, and went to bed. Nothing unusual ever happened. Until one Friday night. I got home a little after 9:30 p.m. As I walked past the basement stairs, I noticed the basement light was on. I was sure I had turned it off before leaving that morning. Thinking I had simply forgotten, I walked downstairs and switched it off. That's when I noticed an old wooden chair sitting in the middle of the basement. I didn't think much of it. The house came furnished with a few old items. I went upstairs and went to sleep. The next morning, the basement light was on again. I sighed. When I walked downstairs to turn it off, the chair wasn't in the middle anymore. It was against the far wall. I frowned. Maybe I moved it yesterday and forgot. That explanation made enough sense. A few days later, it happened again. The light was on. The chair had moved. This time I was certain. Before going to bed that night, I placed the chair in the center of the basement and took a picture with my phone. I even smiled to myself. Let's see if I'm imagining things. The next morning, the chair was back against the wall. I opened the photo. The picture clearly showed it in the center. I stood there for nearly a minute without saying a word. I searched the basement. Nothing. No broken window, no hidden door, no sign that anyone had been inside. Trying to stay rational, I bought a small security camera and aimed it toward the basement. That night, I checked the live feed before sleeping. The chair was exactly where I had left it. Around 2:17 a.m., my phone buzzed with a motion notification. I opened the camera immediately. The basement light was on. The chair was now against the wall. But the recording showed no one. No movement, no person, nothing. The chair had somehow changed position between two frames. The next morning, I called an electrician. He spent almost an hour checking every wire and every switch. When he finished, he smiled. "Your electrical system is perfectly fine." That answer made me feel even worse. A few nights later, I invited my older brother over. I didn't tell him everything. I just said the house had been acting strange. Around midnight, we were talking in the living room when the basement light suddenly came on. He looked toward the stairs. "You leave it on?" I slowly shook my head. We walked downstairs together. The chair was back in the center of the room. Neither of us had touched it. We searched every corner of the basement. Nothing. As we walked back upstairs, my brother quietly said, "I don't think you should stay here much longer." A week later, I packed my belongings and decided to move. Before leaving for the last time, I walked into the basement one final time. The chair was exactly where I had left it. I turned off the light, locked the house, loaded the last box into my car. Then I remembered I had forgotten my phone charger. I unlocked the front door and went back inside. The house was silent. When I looked toward the basement, the light was on again. I slowly walked downstairs. The chair hadn't moved, but something else had. The dusty concrete floor now had a single fresh shoe print. Just one. There were no footprints leading to it, no footprints leading away, just one. I stood there for a few seconds, unable to move. Then I walked out of the house without looking back. I never returned. Even today, I don't think about ghosts. I don't think about haunted houses. I only think about one question. Who left a single footprint in a basement where no one had been?